Hey guys, it's Will. In this video I want to talk about fighting games and how I got into them. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I started with Dragon Ball FighterZ about a year ago because my friends had it and it looked fun. But before then, I always said what most people said about fighting games. I don't want to spend my free time getting destroyed online, and I don't want to spend months in training mode to get good. But one of my other friends in our group basically said, if you will, I will. And that was enough for me. Now, once we both had it installed, we spent the first few nights just mashing buttons, having fun, watching each other do quote unquote good shit every now and then. But then that's when the thought popped into my head, what if I practiced to be able to do at least some of the cool stuff when I wanted to? And that's when everything started to just snowball, and I started grinding in training mode, or as the cool kids say, labbing combos. I never had such a frustrating and rewarding grind when playing video games before, even when I played games like Persona 5 or other grindy JRPGs. When I first started, even doing basic movement was a challenge, and I always ended up with my thumb being sore at the end of the night. Let alone practicing reliably to pull off a quarter circle input for supers and other powerful attacks was a challenge. But when I landed my first successful combo, it was a great feeling that I wanted to keep getting better and better and improving my skills and learn more about the game so I could continue to grow and do more cool shit. So after repeating that single combo on one character over and over, I challenged my friend to play to see how far we had gotten. And we started playing against each other and our other friend who plays it. It all started to click into place and just make sense, which allowed me to start landing combos, doing decent mix-ups to open up my friends and bait them into supers and kind of just start playing the game as it should. After that, I wanted to experience more and more about fighting games and what that whole community had to offer. Now, I won't say I mastered or got good at Dragon Ball FighterZ, but I wanted to see what else was out there because I had developed like a basic understanding and I just wanted to experiment. After a brief time skip of playing some other fighting games like Granblue Fantasy Versus and the like, Guilty Gear Strive came out. We're all playing it and it's been so much fun. Still, learning different fighting games has had its challenges compared to the last because they're all slightly different. With Guilty Gear Strive, the main difficulty is probably movement because you can't Dragon Rush, so you can't just kind of push a button and be next to your opponent. But the other thing I found challenging was the 623 input because my monkey brain can't handle such a weird movement, in my opinion, because it's not quarter circle. Now, I'm looking forward to getting those skills or those mechanics down good. I went out of my way to get a hold of a arcade stick because obviously that's the best way to get good fast. It's just a fact. But on a more serious note, I do feel personally it has helped me a lot. The stick has made doing the 623 input much easier and reliable for me to pull off in combos. Not that I'm doing it every single time reliably anyways, but it's helped. Now for the part that everyone has to go through when they're getting into fighting games, myself included, the salt. So far I've talked about how fun it's been getting into these games and how I've enjoyed the learning curve and the difficulty that comes with the reward of being able to become better at the games. But now's where I sound like a salty noob that needs to get good. And I do realize that I am still very new to fighting games in general. But sometimes when you're just told to get good by spending hours online or ranked or whatever the game has, just losing over and over, it's never going to be fun. I don't think there's a way to make it fun, but it's just not a great experience, but I understand it's a necessary evil. In my personal opinion, which is as a person who's only been playing fighting games pretty seriously for over a year, Guilty Gear Strive has had the best options in the game to help you get into the game. Maybe it's because my preferred way of learning and stubborn personality, but when they make you have to do each thing at least 3 times out of the 5 times that they give you, I have to get all 5. times. So I have to do it perfect. And then I do it a few, like that set of 5, maybe 1 or 2 more times after that, just to make sure that it sticks and I have like kind of drill it into my muscle memory. Another good idea I'd recommend for someone getting into fighting games with Strive is looking at the replays. When you're in the heat of the match, sometimes you don't realize misplays or realize some things you did good or did bad that you can improve or correct. And it's a good starting point because maybe you have a friend who's more experienced that can kind of sit down with you and show you what you did or what you can do to improve or work on what you have. If I've taken anything away from when I started playing fighting games till now, it is that they are not that hard to get into. It's the phrase easy to learn, hard to master would fit much better, if not perfectly, because once you kind of get going, the ball just rolls and it just kind of escalates from there. Starting with one character and kind of progressing from there makes the growing pains a lot easier, just because then you don't have to worry about juggling different inputs or different gameplay patterns to kind of get confused and mix with each other, and then it makes things even more difficult. One way to choose a character is you could Google what the easiest character in the game to learn is, or you can do what I did with Strive, pick the character you like the most. In my case, it was Ramethal. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Ramethal is my quote-unquote main. Or just find somebody you enjoy playing and just keep playing them until you have the general gist of how the game plays and the mechanics down. And this one thing might be a given, but having a good grasp on fundamentals is the most important thing to seeing improvement, because you can know the controls, but knowing how to use the mechanics or use your character to kind of break those mechanics if they have that in their kit can make everything just so much more smooth and much more rewarding, because then you're able to kind of do some of that more complicated stuff that looked a lot more difficult than what it is. But at the end of the day, this is all just my opinion from my perspective on the past year and a half of me playing these games. So if there's anyone watching this that has any tips or ideas for myself and or other people watching this to kind of help make things move along more smoothly, feel free to comment down below, or if you want to share how you got into fighting games and your experience doing so. And with that, I think I'm going to call it a day here. So if you liked it, please leave a thumbs up and feel free to check out my highlights videos for Guilty Gear Strive. I do plan on doing those with no commentary, but just uploading kind of as I see fit, and maybe check out some other future fighting game or other anime related content, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.